If you would like to win a Force FX lightsaber, all you have to do to enter is like the video, subscribe, turn notifications on, and tell me in the comments what your favorite lightsaber is. Over the course of the Clone Wars, several rivalries were developed, but perhaps none more heated than that of the former Jedi Master Dooku and the prodigal knight of the Jedi, Anakin Skywalker. The two fought multiple times over the war, with Dooku besting the young Skywalker nearly every single time. However, with each and every engagement, Anakin began drawing closer and closer to finally besting the aging Sith Lord. Although at first, Dooku held no contempt for Skywalker other than a small amount of jealousy, Skywalker loathed Dooku from day one, as he was responsible for the deaths of dozens of Jedi from the very first battle of the Clone Wars. More than this, Dooku was also responsible for cutting off Skywalker's own arm. Over the war, firsthand, Skywalker had to watch Dooku execute Jedi left and right, Jedi that Anakin had loved. With each duel the two fought, Dooku pushed Anakin farther and farther, as he desired to see what the boy was truly made of. In addition, Dooku was always trying to convince him to tap into the dark side of the Force in order to defeat Dooku, as he believed this was the only way Skywalker could ever truly defeat him. In every duel the two fought, Dooku pushed the boy closer and closer to the edge as he prodded and tested his every move. On one occasion during the war, Dooku pushed Anakin so far that he unleashed an ability that is known by the Sith as a Force Scream, or a Sith battle cry. A battle cry was a power that was meant to instill fear in the hearts of the enemies of the Sith. In this moment, which we'll read from shortly, Anakin instinctively uses the power. In the ruined archive, Count Dooku waited for Kenobi and Skywalker to arrive. The room was enormous by any standard, 30 meters high and 3 times that in circumference. More droids appeared. To Dooku, this was nothing more than a game, Obi-Wan told himself. But if it was a demonstration of Force ability that Dooku wanted, then Anakin was more than willing to provide it. "Dooku!" he howled. Anakin howled with such force and wrath that the ceiling of the vast hall began to collapse. Dragging himself out from under the plaster steel girders, Count Dooku came shakily to his feet and gazed in astonished disbelief at the shambles of the control room. Dooku thought to himself, had the containment dome been so weak that it had succumbed to flurries of ricocheting blaster bolts? Or had Skywalker's voiced rage actually called the ceiling down? Had Dooku not leapt forcefully at the last moment, he might have been buried, as the two Jedi were, somewhere below him. He was certain that they had survived, but if nothing else, they were trapped, which had been the intent from the start. But Skywalker, assuming that he had grown powerful enough to have collapsed the dome, the end result was simply further evidence that he would someday undo himself, wasn't it? Because admitting to any alternative explanation meant accepting that Skywalker was potentially a greater threat to the Sith than anyone realized. The definition of a Force Scream explains that the action is involuntary, but that it can only occur when someone is using dark side emotions such as grief or hatred, or in the case of Anakin, rage. The fact that Anakin is able to bring down the ceiling using a Force Scream is highly impressive, as it even scares Dooku and makes him realize that Anakin one day will likely surpass him. Anakin, using the power of only his voice, is able to break walls and shatter glass. Something else to point out though is that Obi-Wan seems to be aware that Dooku is prodding Anakin and is unable to stop Anakin as he is blinded by utter rage for Dooku. Again though, clearly Anakin is using the dark side of the Force, although he may not even know it, to bolster his own voice. Simply by the power of his voice, Dooku becomes unsure if he will ever truly be a match for Skywalker in the future. Dooku is filled with so much fear that he contemplates if Skywalker remains in the light side of the Force, that the Sith could be doomed. But what are your thoughts on Anakin using this dark side or Sith Force ability involuntarily after being pushed too far by Dooku? Also, before this video, had you ever heard of a Force Scream? Again, don't forget to enter the lightsaber giveaway. May the Force be with you, and have a great day.